And female, it's more of a defensive Pokemon than it is offensive. Its Poison Point ability is really good, as you can see right there, as I've mentioned before. This one's more common if you're playing Leaf Green, though, so if you're playing Fire Red, I kind of would outrule getting this one, just because it's so rare. But it's a pretty good Pokemon, though, especially if you just Charmander, because it gets a Ground subtype later on, and can learn Fighting-type moves to deal with those annoying Rock types. But because I already have my Bulbasaur, it's part Poison type, I don't think I'll be picking one of these. Nidorina is more defensive than its counterpart. The only real reason I would suggest picking one of these up now would be if you have Fire Red and you wanted a Nidoqueen instead of a Nidoking, but you couldn't get one because it was too rare earlier in the game. Next, we have Nidoran Male, the counterpart to Nidoran Female, of course. This one's more offensive than it is defensive. It's basically a polar opposite. Just like Nidoran Female, it does get the Ground subtype. It does get all that stuff. It has the same ability. It's also a pretty good Pokemon, really. I'd recommend this one over Nidoran Female because this one actually has better speed. But, you know, that's just what I recommend. This one's more common for playing Fire Red like me, though. Next up, of course, is Nidorino. Same thing as Nidorina. I would recommend picking one up if you wanted Nidoking, but you have Leaf Green. Really same thing. It's more offensive than defensive than Nidorina is. Nidoran Female, which is a Poison-type Pokemon that's rather defensive. It's not a bad Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination. It's basically just a counterpart to Nidoran Male, which is the more offensive one. They're both pretty good Pokemon. They have fairly identical movesets. Only real difference being is just that one's more defensive, the other one's more offensive. Not much else going on there.
Too late to be helpful, too late to be helpful. Nidoran Female with Hustle. Becomes Sheer Force after evolving. I don't like how many of these hidden abilities turn into other ones after evolving. It's confusing. Did you think I was gonna say I didn't like this ability with that tone? Cause no, of course not. Nidoqueen has a big move pool and can actually take advantage of this. It's one of the rare times I think Nidoqueen is actually kind of interesting. Nidoran Male with Hustle. Same ability, same change, same comments apply. Nidoran Male evolves into the king of versatility. It's to the point where I would guarantee it can find something to do on your team. Poison Ground is big on defense, being immune to electric, resisting plenty else, unable to be poisoned or stunned with Thunder Wave. It has no poor stats and can claim those stats right away thanks to such forgiving evolution conditions. Poison Point can help when you least expect it, and the moves for it are simply to die for. It's decorated with Ice Beam, Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Shadow Ball, Earthquake, Dragon Pulse, and that's just before the league. Heck, if you want to get real crazy, it's easy to breed Sucker Punch onto it from help with a male Rattata. But wait, I hear you say, you can't breed male to male. Well, let's get into the next Pokemon to explain it. Nidoran Female, a Pokemon so similar it's almost interchangeable with Nidoran Male. The only real difference is this one takes a hit in the offense in exchange for more defense. There was kind of this thing early on where male Pokemon always had higher attack stats than female Pokemon, so gender isn't tied to stats anymore, but it's kind of a relic of that time. This comes out to it being less useful in the male version because a lot of would-be defensive Pokemon just can't get toxic and stuff like that. When breeding a Nidoran Female, the egg will contain either form of Nidoran just fine. However, bizarrely, the evolved forms Nidorina and Nidoqueen cannot breed under any circumstance. I wondered what was up with this for years because this is the case in every Pokemon game, but in an official Pokemon lore book published in 1996 titled Pocket Monsters Zukon, it states that Nidorina, upon evolution, becomes infertile. So, even before breeding was a mechanic, this was intended lore for the species. It makes sense that mammalian Pokemon would have menopause within their life cycles, and it would affect some earlier than others, so I just kind of thought I'd bring that up because I thought it was really interesting and realistic.